always said, when you go to a party or when you don't know people, find out what you have in common with somebody. And I thought that you know, I was a recipient of that right from the very beginning when I first met Wanda Jr. I moved to Los Gatos, went to Fisher Junior High School, didn't know anybody at all. And the first day, at lunchtime, I was sitting there by myself eating lunch, and Wanda came over to me and said, "Why don't you eat lunch with us?" And it was a group of girls, and that's what I did. And then after that, Wanda invited me to her house. And Wanda's parents being Polish was actually quite a familiar thing to me, because when I was very little, from the age of like 2 to 5, my Polish step-grandparents took care of me. So I'd heard Polish, and I'd been around people speaking Polish. So this was sort of a second time after sort of a 10-year gap or so, when again I was in this Polish atmosphere. So it was very comfortable for me. It was very, the European aspect of it. My mother was European, and the way that people ate with holding the fork in the left hand and the knife in the right hand. It was a European household. And this was a very lovely environment for me. And like Vicky was saying, there was a funny thing of listening to conversations, though, with Wanda Sr. speaking Polish and Wanda Jr. speaking English. It was like listening to a telephone conversation. But Mrs. Komnetsky was very cultured, very refined, and loved art, always, and loved music, loved the ballet. I can remember her watching ballet on public TV and shushing everybody. So it's, you know, sort of a little bit out of character, because usually she was very sociable and wanted everybody to talk. But when she was watching ballet, she wanted everybody to be quiet so that she could concentrate. And it was a very warm family, and it was an amazing environment to be in. I remember one time, I don't think it was your mother's birthday, and your family bought a stereo, but they bought it in secret. So it was just Stan and Wanda and Sandra who were in on the purchase of the stereo, and they hid it. And then when it was her birthday, they took it out, they set it up in the morning, and they put on a Chopin record. And so they had this music wafting up the stairs to her bedroom, and she came out not knowing where the sound was coming from to find that there was a stereo. It was a very thrilling day. And she loved music, and even, I remember, actually I was just looking up, because I remember hearing her sing songs in the kitchen, sing along to the radio, which was hysterical when you're 13 years old. And this Polish mother is belting out these tunes of the times, and I remember her singing "Respect." And even perhaps more shocking, "Light My Fire." So there were a lot of fun times, and it was a really lovely environment, and she really took care of me, and I was one of the many people here that she took care of. And I remember having different problems and going to Wanda's house and having Wanda's mother just take care of me. And I remember being late for school because I had something going on, and I'd go to Wanda's mother, and Wanda's mother would write me a letter explaining to the school why I was late. And I would take it in, and all would be fine. And you know, she was a very generous person and very practical. And she provided what people needed when they needed it, and didn't worry about asking questions, and didn't worry about finding out the details. So she was a remarkable person in my life, a second mother, and one that I'll always hold dear. And finally, there's a word in Japanese, surudoi. Surudoi means when a person is sharp, and it comes from the sharpness of a sword, is where this word comes from. But sort of, I don't know if it's slang or sort of common usage. It's not really used so much to talk about a knife as it is to talk about a person. And a person who is surudoi is a person who is very perceptive, who understands what's going on in life, who's insightful, who's practical, who finds a way to help people in whatever way they can. And I think that sums up Mrs. Komnetsky better than any other word I can think of. She was surudoi.